Welcome to Moxey. This is 2021, hopefully the end of COVID. So I love to start this pitch with one of my favorite memes that I think helps capture the essence of Moxey. So there at the bottom, you have a guy tipping over a very tiny domino, and it scales all the way to this massive domino that you can almost not believe is going to be pushed over from this small beginning. And that's what we're doing here with Moxey. Barter is the world's oldest form of commerce, and today it's the very bottom of the economic total pole, the bottom of the pyramid, if you will. So we're going to start there, but where we're going to end is this rather sophisticated lending and digital payment system that we're building. So let's get started. Moxey solves a few core problems that almost all businesses have. They have the challenges of needing new customers, expiring inventory, and access to credit. Expiring inventory is just a fancy way of saying some things, if you don't sell them, go to zero. A simple example is a table at a restaurant where once lunch is over, you can never go back in time unless you have a time machine and sell it again. The same thing is true for hotel rooms or seats on an airline. And it's also true for time, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, or a painter. If your time is gone or your inventory expires, it can never be sold again. And the last one is access to credit. As we all know, most local businesses struggle with access to fairly priced capital. That's what Moxey does. We help solve all three of these problems. We bring people new business, help them sell their expiring inventory, and give them better access to credit. So far, we've done $175 million worth of transactions and have over 4,000 local business owners across 16 cities who are part of Moxey. Our system is very easy to use. We have a completely self-contained closed loop network. Using Moxey with a swipe credit card feels like using a high-end Visa, MasterCard, or American Express card. You don't have to use the credit card. We also have an app and simple integration with the point of sale systems. And our app allows you to look for customers, check your balance, do all the basic things you would do inside of a normal banking app. Let's meet Vicki Little. Vicki's one of my favorite examples of a Moxey success story. So several years ago, Vicki, who's a single mom and a first-time entrepreneur, was opening up a commercial laundromat, and she had a problem. She ran out of funds before she finished her build-out. Moxey stepped in, and we gave Vicki an interest-free line of credit that she could use to pay for the services she needed. But more importantly, or as importantly, we also put her in touch with a plumber and electrician who could do the work for Vicki. So Vicki won because she was able to save her cash and get work she desperately needed done before she could open her doors. And the plumber and electrician also won because they received new customers. And last, the whole network won. We have tons of restaurants and a few hotels, all who need commercial laundromat services. So just like Metcalfe's law tells us that the value of a network is equal to the square of the number of nodes in that network, every time a new business or a new node joins our network, the whole network becomes more valuable. So by helping Vicki, we're not only helping our other members, we're helping the entire network. And that's the real beauty of Moxey in one story, is that it's a win-win-win scenario. This is what our current footprint looks like. We charge a 10% commission for the privilege of receiving new customers inside of the market. Don't think of Moxey as a credit card payment transaction fee. Think of it as what a seller would pay on Amazon. Amazon charges about 15%, where Groupon charges about 30% or a little bit higher. So our customers happily pay a 10% fee for receiving new customers and access to an interest-free line of credit. As we grow beyond the barter model, we'll have business services, online consumer transactions, and financial services. But right now, the primary revenue model is a 10% fee charged on all the transaction volume in Moxey dollars that moves to the network. We have a couple of challenges right now. Frankly, if they weren't challenges, we probably wouldn't be raising money at all. But to get to this spot quickly over the last 4 years, we integrated a list of existing barter networks and started rebranding them Moxey. So we've already converted 4 of what we call legacy communities, and there are 9 legacy communities remaining that still have to be converted. So in those 9 areas, we only get a 10th of the 10% on average. We don't get the original 10%, which is obviously not enough money to run our business. So one of two things will happen. Either we'll grow beyond this initial footprint and the small markets in South Louisiana that we're not capturing won't be an issue, or more likely, we'll be reorganizing and restructuring our relationships with these 9 licensees so that we're able to better help them and better capture most of that revenue. I want you to meet our team. We have some all-stars here. Chip Davis is the original founder of this idea about 20 years ago. Believe it or not, he has 20 years of experience inside of the mutual credit networks or barter exchanges. Warren Sager is an operator's operator. He has built and bought and scaled numerous businesses. And Amy is just a sales and marketing savant. She has worked in multiple countries and several continents and is a huge part of our team. The four of us has been working together now for about 5 years, and Warren and Chip and I have known each other for more than a decade. So we have a really solid, committed team. I mentioned this at the beginning. Barter is just the start on our way to building a global digital payment network. I want to talk for just a moment about these two ideas, proof of value and dynamic reserve banking. Proof of value is the internal metric that we invented to allow us to determine in real time, in any given moment, the exact value of every single penny that's anywhere in the Moxey network. It tells us the health of the currency, and it tells us where it should be. Dynamic reserve banking is an innovation that is a takeoff on the modern version of fractional reserve banking. Fractional reserve banking, as most of you probably know, has been around for hundreds of years, and for the past few hundred years, been dominated by central banks. Today, every nation of any significant capacity has a central bank. And so dynamic reserve banking is a different system that allows the banking systems to buy external assets combined with the concept of proof of value to manage the value of the currency. And you're probably thinking, well, that sounds interesting, but what does that have to do with barter? And the answer is barter is one of the largest but most fractured industries in the world today. There are 4,000 to 5,000 tiny barter networks around the world. And the main reason that no one has scaled and combined these things is because they haven't figured out how to properly manage the credits inside of the network. Managing monetary credits, whether it's barter or airline miles or the US dollar, is an incredibly challenging prospect. And that's the core thing that we figured out through proof of value and dynamic reserve banking. And while it might be overkill for a barter network, it is exactly the tool that Moxey needs to scale. We have patent pending applications on the processes that we use. Obviously, we probably can't patent the monetary theories of proof of value or dynamic reserve banking, but we do hope to patent the technology and the systems and the processes we deploy to evaluate the currency. Our goal is to raise $1 million to help us start scaling Moxey. We're currently doing a crowdfunding campaign on the WeFunder platform, and we've raised about $400,000 in the first 3 weeks of the campaign. We're very blessed to have 4,000 businesses who are active customers of the Moxey network, so it gave us a huge launching pad. A number of our business owners, some who are accredited investors, some of them who are not, are able to participate together through the WeFunder platform, and they sort of rallied together to help us kick off the Moxey platform. And so we have two main purposes for the revenue we're raising. The first is this ongoing technology upgrade to make it easier for the discovery process and funner to spend Moxey, if that's a word, funner. And last is sales and marketing. We're in about 16 cities today, and our next footprint needs to be from Texas to North Carolina. So the majority of the money is going to be used to plant community flags from Texas to North Carolina first. And if you think back to the way that Facebook grew, or Uber grew, or even Clubhouse more recently, they all grow in very focused community manners. Uber grew by cities. Facebook famously grew one college campus at a time. Then they come back together and they tie those networks together. That's exactly what we're doing. We'll be planting flags in the major cities between Texas and North Carolina, building those communities up, and then coming back together and making sure that the Moxey card works anywhere in that entire network. So thank you very much for learning more about Moxey, and I look forward to answering your questions.